On this episode, 6+1 Mossberg 500 build.
Howdy folks, Joey from King Armory here. We're going to do a very special conversion on this ratty old Mossberg here. We picked this up on Gunbroker for a song. It's been well used and a little beat up. So as always, it's a good candidate for overhaul. This gun is the standard 18.5-inch Mossberg 500 with the 5+1 magazine tube. The Mossberg makes what they call a security model that has a 20.5-inch barrel and a 7-shot magazine tube. A lot of people like the shorter profile and a little ease of handling of the 18.5-inch barrel versus the 20-inch, basically taking 2 inches off the end of the barrel there. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a conversion that we've done a few of in the past, and we're going to show you step by step how we go about doing it. It's actually a surprisingly easy job. What we're going to do is we're going to take the longer mag tube off of a security model, which we've already ordered in from Mossberg, and we're going to shorten it up, and we're going to relocate the barrel lug so that this gun will hold 6+1, 7 shots total, and still be an 18.5-inch barrel. So pretty easy build. A lot of people ask us to do it or ask us about it, so we're going to show you how it's done, and we'll go from there. Okay, here's the 7-shot mag tube, and as you can see, it's actually longer than the barrel itself is on this. What we're going to do on this is this end here, there's an insert that's plugged in here and it's crimped in. You can see here where they've roll crimped the end cap in place. What we're going to do is we're going to turn that off on the lathe, shorten the mag tube to the needed length, and that end cap there we'll solder back in rather than roll crimping it. It's a little better fit and it's a lot cleaner. You don't have all these dimples and whatnot on the outside of the mag tube. So we'll shorten it up to about here, and that will leave us enough room to move this lug. This lug is silver soldered on to the barrel. A lot of people think they're welded or something like that, but no, it's a high temp silver solder. So what we'll do, we'll heat that lug up, it will detach, we'll go in here and reinstall it down here towards the end of the barrel so that everything's flush on the end. Pretty easy job. The other thing we're going to take care of on this shotgun is this is one of the older Mossbergs that doesn't have the tensioner spring in the forearm, so they have the stereotypical Mossberg rattle there. What we're going to do, we're going to show you an easy fix for that. Same thing, it'll be just some silver soldering there. So we'll get everything lined up, silver solder the joint up there, and that will give a little rigidity, take some of that slop out of the forend on this one.
First thing we're going to do is we're going to set the barrel up in the lathe and establish a center line here. We're going to use the bit here, turn the barrel manually by hand to get everything lined up with the lug here. And then we're going to move down to the end of the barrel where we're going to place the lug and scribe the line. That way we know exactly where we need to place that thing so that everything's on center. Next we're going to press a 729 diameter heat sink up into the barrel about where the lug is. Apply flux and heat the barrel and the lug carefully until the silver solder that is holding the barrel lug to the barrel softens up and allows us to remove the lug. Next, we're going to set the barrel up on a stainless 729 heatsink. Get the barrel lug situated based on our center line that we scribed earlier. Apply flux, and we're going to apply some heat to this thing very carefully and evenly, and silver solder it in place. After a little cleanup, here's the finished product. We removed the ejector from the mag tube so that we could install the mag tube and the barrel in the receiver, and just turn the barrel a little to one side so we know how far we got to cut that barrel to. We're going to scribe a line here so we know approximately what the finished length of the magazine tube needs to be when done. Now we're going to put the mag tube in the lathe and we're going to part the tube right there where the roll crimp was. That will free the end cap so that we can remove it. Next we're going to part that mag tube off at that line where we scribed earlier. Next we're going to trim the mag tube to the thickness of the lip on the end of the end cap, plus about 20 thousandths of an inch, so we have a small gap between the end of the magazine tube and the barrel lug. Now we drop the cap in and put everything together, and you can see that we have a little gap like we wanted. Now we're going to apply some flux and silver solder the cap into the mag tube. Now we've very carefully gotten the arms on the action slide tube position so that they will line up correctly in the receiver. We're going to apply a little bit of flux, some heat, and silver solder to these joints so it's more of a solid connection rather than having the slop that you had in there previously. Caution must be used to make sure that these are lined up exactly right, otherwise you'll wind up having the action bars dragging on the receiver and causing wear.
Hey folks, Joey, I'm back here. We have the parts back from Refinishing. Rather than doing the refinishing in-house, we had these parkerized and moly coated at AZEX, Arizona Expert Firearms over in Queen Creek, Arizona. Derek, as always, did a beautiful job with this. It has a nice satiny black finish like you'd have on an MP5. Very durable, self-lubricating finish. So we had everything done that, and we're going to do the reassembly and get this gun done. Our goal on this one is to have it to be a basic fighting shotgun, not terribly flashy, very lightweight, compact, simplified. Hence the goal with going with the 6+1 setup and the 18.5-inch barrel. We're trying to get maximum capacity, minimum weight, minimum size. On this build, we're going to keep this thing down and dirty. We're going to use a lot of S&J hardware products from Canada. Very top quality gear here. We'll cover these products in detail. First up is the SJ-MS01 oversized Mossberg safety. These come with a replacement screw and washer in them to replace that stupid safety screw that's a pain in the butt to get out on the Mossberg. These are machined from aluminum. It's a one-piece safety. Give it here on the close-up camera here so you can see it. A little larger footprint. It's a lot easier to find that in the dark in a hurry, and it's a lot more durable than the factory two-piece plastic one, which is prone to breaking around where the screw goes in. We're going to use an S&J RMO1D magazine follower. These are machined from Delrin, which is a self-lubricating plastic. This is a replacement style. I'll show you here on the close-up camera. This is a replacement for the cup type follower that is used on a lot of the Mossberg shotguns. So we'll use this one here. These are very reliable and very durable. That will make sure we get very good feeding on this platform. This is an ambidextrous sling plate. You can mount it left or right. It fits in behind the thumb screw that holds the barrel on. We'll show you here on the close-up. Actually here, we'll use the one we're going to use on here. We had this parkerized and moly coated. But you can see that they have the detent holes here that will engage the detent ball on the thumb nut. So we'll install that directly behind the thumb nut in front of the barrel lug. And this will give us an opportunity to install a sling on this gun. We can mount the sling on the right hand side like we had it here, or we can turn it over and install it the other way. It's ambidextrous and it will fit and it will engage against the barrel and the barrel lug here. Next up is the SJ-RM07 extra power mag spring. These springs are made in Canada, and the alloy they use and the heat treating process they use on these gives them a 600,000 cycle life, which would basically mean you would have to load and unload the shotgun 600,000 times to wear this spring out. Horrible overkill, but this thing will never wear out. Extra durable spring, so we're going to use it on this build because we want to make sure those rounds feed reliably. We're going to replace the little brass bead that came with this thing from the factory with a high-vis fiber optic front sight. This is a Spark 2. It's all machined metal housing with about a 3/8 inch long fiber optic rod in there. When it's dark, it's a very large bead, very easy to see. In ambient light, the little fiber optic rod will glow in a dull green. It makes it very easy to pick up. For this build, we're going to use a Hogue stock set. These have that rubberized pebble texture that Hogue is known for. It's a very soft grip that's very comfortable and very easy to hold on to. We're going to install this, just go with a very basic setup. This gun was used and it came already with a side saddle and a heat shield. While we were at it, we had this sandblasted and moly coated at AZEX as well, so it will look good as new. So we will have a side saddle for this one, and also the heat shield, which we already installed, and we had that also parkerized and moly coated. Alright folks, we're going to start the reassembly process here. We've taken the Hogue stock set out of the wrapper, get rid of a little bit of the clutter in here, as well as taking the spring and other items out. What we're going to do is we're going to start putting everything together. We took the spring here, and I'll show you on the close-up cam. We cut about 5 coils off the end because this spring is for a 6 to 7 shot mag tube. It generally kind of errs on the side of being a 7 shot, so we just took a little bit off. It'll make it a little easier to put everything together. It will give us a little more room inside the mag tube, make loading that 6th shell in the mag tube a little easier. Okay, we got our action side tube here. It's been refinished. We're going to take the 4-end nut off of it. As I said previously, these are rubberized, so it's kind of pliable, very easy to get everything to go together. We're going to slide that on the end and very carefully start getting it threaded on there. You want to be very careful to make sure that they don't cross thread because these Mossberg 4-ends and a lot of other shotgun 4-ends are very fine threads, so it's really easy for them to get one thread off. So if you find any kind of difficulty threading it on there, take a second shot at it and make sure that you get that threaded on there right. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to install the S&J hardware magazine follower here and the magazine spring in the tube that we shortened up and installed on the receiver. That way we have kind of a finished receiver to start with here. We're going to take that magazine spring, we cut the end there. We're going to put that end at the blind end of the mag tube. That way there's nothing dragging. That thing's going to thread on there and push in there like so. We're going to take the follower and we're going to put the follower in the end of the receiver here. Makes it a little easier than trying to get everything packed in there and tightened up. The other thing we're going to do, we're going to take a little bit of Loctite. In this case, we're going to use red because we use red on everything here. I'm just going to put just a slightest drop. But generally for something this diameter, you want to use a blue Loctite. It's considered less than permanent. We're going to put the spring in the follower there, kind of push everything together, push everything in, and we want that follower to drop into the mag tube when we start threading it. Sometimes you got to wiggle it a little bit, but in this case everything's going to go together fine. I thread that on there tight, push the follower in, make sure nothing's bound up, and that part's done. The next thing we're going to want to do is install the oversized safety assembly. So we're going to take this thing out of the packaging. And as you can see here, we'll show you on the close-up cam, you have a safety button, the screw, and the little washer. We're going to put that together. Side here for a second. The next part we're going to need, we're going to pull our little tray here. We're going to need the corresponding internal piece here for the safety, the actual engagement. We're going to need the little tiny spring that goes in the receiver. We're going to need the little tiny ball bearing that engages the detent, the little detent ball here. You can see that there on the close-up cam. Now, what we usually like to do on these, because it makes things a little easier, is put a little dollop of grease. So in this case, we're using Hop's gun grease. You can see it there. Good all-around preservative. Not really a lubricant, but it's good for keeping things from rusting and helping to assemble things. So what we're going to use that drop of glue there as kind of an adhesive. That way we don't lose that little ball bearing. When you install this thing, as you can see the configuration there, the receiver to the safety, that's going to need to be facing like so, not like this. When that thing slid forward, it will let everything fire. We're going to drop that into place in the slot and hold that up with one finger here. We're going to use the little Allen key there, line everything up, and tighten that thing down until it's snug. Okay, once we get that in place, we want to do a function check and make sure that everything positively engages front and back. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to install that fore-end assembly that we put together previously here. Slide it carefully onto the magazine tube, try not to scratch anything. Get the action bars to go through the receiver there. And we're going to slide that back. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to take the shell elevator, we're going to pinch that together, drop it into place, and it should drop into the two axis holes in the receiver. We're going to push that thing almost all the way down. We're going to take the bolt assembly, slide it in through the front of the receiver, line it up with the ejector. There we go. You can see here, I'll show you on the close-up cam. We're going to drop that bolt almost all the way back, because this area here where the cutout is where the bolt carrier dog is going to drop into place. So in our next step here, we're going to do that. You can see the little cutout here is where the firing and the hammer is going to drop in, so that needs to go to the rear. That's the easy way of remembering. We're going to drop that in place. We're going to slide that fore-end assembly back until the little cutout in there engages with the dog. Then we're going to push that bolt forward and kind of wiggle everything in place until it drops in. We'll push down on that, slide it forward, the bolt assembly's in. Our next step, we're going to finish putting the internals in this gun here. We're going to put we're going to spray a little bit of rim oil in there to make sure everything's nice and lubricated. We're going to take our Mossberg trigger grip, Put a little bit of lube in that as well, just a light little dab. We're going to put a little bit of grease on there, a little Hops gun grease, and put the left-hand side one in there. And the little post on there will line up with the axis hole in the receiver. We're going to put a little bit of Hops gun grease on the back of the other interrupter here and drop it into place. And so, as you can see here, we'll show you on the close-up cam, both of them are kind of glued in there, and that will keep them from moving around. The trigger group here, and we're going to drop the trigger group into place, front end first, the back end will drop into place. And normally there is a little pin that goes in here that holds this in place. However, with this one, we're putting a side saddle on here, so we're going to take the included screw that comes with the side saddle right here, and we're going to push it in from the right-hand side, since the shell holders will go on the left-hand side. And once again, we're going to bust out the red Loctite. We'll put just the slightest drop. We're going to drop this in place. There's a second, a longer ejector screw that's included with this kit that's dropped in there. We've already installed that. We also replaced the ejector. A lot of these older Mossbergs, those ejectors get a little sprung and starts having some ejection problems. So it's a $10 part or $5 part, whatever. I highly recommend replacing those anytime you come across an old shotgun. It'll keep you from having a lot of reliability problems. We're going to carefully tighten that up. We want that to be snug but not overly tight, and that's the other reason we use the Loctite. Mossbergs have an aluminum receiver, and if you tighten that thing down too much, it will kind of pinch the receiver in at the top and make the bolt and internals drag, and it will cause a lot of reliability problems. We're going to take the red Loctite again and put a drop right there on the threads, and we'll get that thing started here. Like I said, it's not much of a nut. One little tool that's usually pretty handy for these, I haven't tried it with this one yet, hopefully it works. So a lot of these little 6-way screwdrivers you see on the market nowadays, the small side of those things will actually fit in that recess and fit the nut. And it's really nice because you don't have to try to find some socket that'll get in there. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take the side saddle here, put this in place. Once again, procure the Allen screws and the Allen key. That's all tightened up. So now we have basically a complete receiver assembly minus the barrel and the buttstock. We're going to set that receiver aside, and we're going to install the sling plate here on the barrel, so we'll complete the barrel assembly. We have the thumb screw, we have the sling plate, which was refinished, and we have the little, looks like a star washer that is used to hold the thumb screw captive on these. A lot of people try to pry these things off and you break them. If you break them, they're about $2 or $3 from Brownells. So don't sweat it. We keep a few of them around here just because stuff happens. But they actually will thread on to the, they'll actually thread on to the screw with a little bit of work. We're going to need some fine needle nose pliers. I am right-handed, so I'm going to put that sling on the left-hand side there. Drop that thumb screw through, and you can see there on the close-up cam, the fitment there where this thing secures against the barrel. So it's not secures against the barrel lug, so it's not actually rubbing on the barrel or anything like a lot of barrel clamps or sling plates or whatever out there do. Real nice fitment there. This is where the problem begins, is we got to try to get this thing to start taking a thread, and so we want to kind of hold that on there kind of straight. Probably can't see that on the camera. And we use a pair of fine needle nose pliers. A lot of times will work all right. So we're going to thread that on there until it's fairly snug. You don't want it super tight because then that thumb screw will drag, but you don't want the that little washer getting in the way of the magazine tube when that thing's threaded on there tight. You want it to fit all the way back in that recess. After a little bit of fighting, you can see it turns freely. It's got a little bit of a gap and then engages positively on those little spring detents. So that part is ready for assembly. As on most pump shotguns, you want to hit that little action release on the Mossberg. Slide that fore end about halfway back, and this barrel assembly will drop in. And as normal, we'll just thread that little thumb screw in there. Take our little high-vis side assembly here. These are set up to fit a lot of different applications. They have the sight and a couple different threaded inserts. Mossbergs are 540, so you're going to want to cut open that pouch and take the 540 insert out and thread it into the sight assembly. And we are going to very carefully thread that into the factory bead hole there. Line that up, and that is ready to go. Now that we have everything assembled here, we got to put the buttstock on. There's two little holes, you can see them here, that there's actually screws hiding behind there. So we're going to loosen those up, both of those up. I loosened the top one up already. We're going to loosen it up with a Phillips screwdriver. There's a little insert here that will need to come out. Here, a pair of pliers there, pop that thing out there. We're going to take that factory washer, factory bolt, and that larger washer that was supplied from Hogue, and put them together. And you'll need a large, like a double fister screwdriver to fit up in there. And we want to very carefully get that thing threaded on there. If it's binding, back off and try again, because the Mossberg receivers are aluminum, and a real common problem we run into in a lot of these is someone just tries to crank something on there, taking the stock off or putting new stock on there, and they wind up stripping the threads out of the back of the receiver because something cross-threaded and they just cranked it on there. And we want that nice and tight. Not too tight because we don't want to tear the threads out, obviously, but it should be pretty darn snug. Put that insert back in there. Finished with the assembly. We'll give it a quick wipe down, take off the greasy handprints and any leftover oil. And she's pretty much ready to go. Ratty old shotgun brought kind of back to life. As you can see, we got rid of that our little repair on the fore end there, got rid of that typical Mossberg rattle, so we don't have that problem to contend with either. Now to confirm that everything went correctly and that our build went as intended, we're going to pull out 6 2 3/4 inch slugs and load them into the mag tube to confirm that 6 rounds will in fact fit. There you go, folks. 6+1 Mossberg. And as you can see, there's almost enough room in there for an extra shell. So with some of these additional, shells that are slightly longer, like the S&B and some of the European ammo, or if you're using 3-inch mags, I would be willing to bet that a lot of 3-inch mags you'll even be able to get 6+1 on there. But the best news is you have some room to spare in there, so you're not compressing everything down and causing a potential problem with your mag spring.
Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for new episodes covering other frequently asked questions and unique builds.
You'll see your sins in my vengeful eyes, 'cause I'm the point of despair for the good guys.